Hey, bit of a rough week for us last week. I ended 1-6 on my picks. Connor ended at 2-5. Good news is, though, we are still above making money, or the making money threshold on our picks for the year. I'm sitting at 60%. Connor's at like 56. So you're cashing out. It's looking good. Just keep following our picks, and bleeps happen in the year. Anyways, we have more of our picks coming. More locks of the week. It's going to be exciting. To start, though, we are going to be focusing on Geno Smith and what the Seattle Seahawks should do. Currently, they hold the Broncos looking like the top 5 pick in the draft. So Geno Smith has looked like a franchise starter. However, lots of good quarterbacks coming up. Connor, what do you think? Should they stick with Geno, or should they be looking in the draft and saying, thanks, Geno, you had a good year, but we think we don't trust you that much?
No, I think it's pretty obvious here. What is Geno? 31, 32? This is the time, if you had asked the Kansas City Chiefs, whatever it was, 5 years ago, Alex Smith, I think either gets traded, has a pretty good year, and then he comes in and they're saying, I wonder if we should get a new quarterback. Alex Smith was in his 30s. Alex Smith comes in, crushes it even when the first year Patrick Mahomes was there. And then they said, here, we're handing you the reins. This is the exact situation. This should be a no-brainer. Yes, they should go for a quarterback. They're going to be a top 3 pick. They are a top 3 pick. There's at least 2 that I would say could be franchise quarterbacks in Young and in Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. Houston's taken one of them. Chicago is not. You will get one of those 2. So, especially if you get CJ Stroud, I think Bryce Young goes 1. That's my opinion. Bryce Young's going 1. He's going to Houston. So, you get Bryce Young. Sorry, you get CJ Stroud. And Stroud actually has to develop a little bit more than Young, in my opinion. Let Geno develop him. Geno's played in the league 13 years or whatever it is. He's been great for the last 6 games. I mean, he at least knows what I think he knows how to be a professional. At a minimum, he's going to know how to teach CJ Stroud. And to be honest with you, Geno was a high draft pick. I think he was a first rounder. Geno knows the expectations. Geno can tell you, hey, here's what I did. I screwed up a lot. Here's how I'm going to be better. Here's how I'm going to pass that down to you. Geno doesn't strike me as Ryan Tannehill, who when Malik Willis gets drafted, he's like, it's not my job to train him. I don't think Geno has that same, I would say, doesn't have the same demeanor. So this is a perfect situation. I can't believe people are even debating this. Fine, franchise Geno. Give him a little bit of money. Give him a 1 or 2 year deal. Brian Hoyer, that dude. Who cares? Yes, you have, in my opinion, this is like a Goldilocks situation to allow somebody, you can still win games, hand it off when you need to. Let him sit for a year. I know that is crazy to do in the NFL now. Let him sit. Geno will not be there forever. This is no debate. This should be very easy.
I'm with you. Also, if let's say you keep Geno Smith and he ends up being like, Russell Wilson for the Seattle Seahawks.
Fine.
that it's like, congratulations. Now you're sitting on a guy that was a top 3 pick that you could probably trade away. Like, you could trade him for 2 first-round picks, even if he sits for a year on the Seahawks bench. So I think it's underrated just to have good players. I mean, we've seen, Carson Wentz went for like a 2nd or 3rd rounder in his second trade when he went from the Colts to the Commanders. Sam Darnold didn't look good in the Jets, and they still got a 2nd rounder for him. So even if you have a guy sitting on your bench as a rookie, he can still have value as a trade asset a year later, because people, you need a quarterback, and if there's any kind of hope, people are willing to take a gamble on it and see what can happen. So with that in mind, talking about quarterbacks, 49ers have a rough situation going forward thanks to the broken foot of Jimmy G. Wow, that was embarrassing. Brock Purdy stepped in, Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah, it's because Jimmy G's been replaced by Brock Purdy. That's why you were fumbling there.
So do you think San Fran still, the number 2 team in the NFC, right behind the Eagles. I think it's Eagles, Cowboys, 49ers fighting for that second spot.
I say yes, but it's not because of Brock Purdy. So it's DeMeco Ryans and Kyle Shanahan. But the way Purdy looked, he looked like Jimmy G. He handled the offense the same way Jimmy G would. I don't believe he's going to be a 300-plus yard guy every week. He's not expected to be. You have to drive the Lamborghini. This is the easiest situation to walk into if you are a rookie quarterback. I mean, I think it's maybe the easiest. I can't think of one that would be easier, but if I had to guess, it would be this one. Great play caller. We're talking all-pro talent across the board. At least 3 right there, CMC, Debo, and Kittle. And a fourth guy who probably could be borderline. You saw what he did, which is exactly what he's supposed to do. Get in trouble. Oh, yeah, CMC had 10 targets. It's probably a good guy to drop the ball off, too. Worst case scenario, you drop it off, dink and dunk the entire game to Debo Samuel, George Kittle, and CMC. Not the worst thing in the world. I would say that has nothing to do with Brock Purdy. I think that has everything to do with with DeMeco Ryans and Kyle Shanahan. Oh, yeah, by the way, DeMeco Ryans has the number 1 defense in the entire NFL.
I saw something and I thought it was hilarious. Did you know Brock Purdy had an offer from Alabama, but he turned it down to go play at Iowa State?
Yeah, who does that?
So he's got some talent. Someone, Nick Saban liked him at least. And like you said, you have so many good players that all they have to do is have the ball in their hands, and you can get 10 to 15 yards, even if it's like a 3-yard pass. So don't screw up, and you have a great defense. I still think the Eagles aren't as battle-tested as I would like a team to be. Same with the Cowboys. So 49ers have had it rougher, so I'm just going to trust them more. But, man, the NFC is just so bad this year. Like, picking anyone, everyone has, like, a red flag. Vikings have Kirk Cousins. Buccaneers can't move the ball to save their life. The Giants are terrible. And I just don't know who's going to come out of that, and I just feel so bad because I feel this is going to be one of those years where the AFC Championship is more likely the Super Bowl than the actual Super Bowl itself.
Sure. I mean, you got to remember, though, too, like, the thing that gets young quarterbacks in trouble is generally vertical passing game. In my opinion, I would say vertical passing game because reading safety, moving eyes, trusting arm way too much, understanding windows, watching them close is way faster than they did in college. You have to be a lot more pinpoint accurate, I would say, on longer passes. And yet Kyle Shanahan's average depth of target is nowhere near the top of the list. I would say it's bottom 10, and I would say that very comfortably too. So your job is to distribute, and that's purposeful. We also talked about earlier in the year that Kyle Shanahan has more predetermined plays to 1 or 2 specific players, check, nothing there, drop it down or run, than anybody else. I think it's top 5 in the NFL. So as long as you know what the play is being called, you know who it's supposed to go to. This is not a read the defense. This is I'm going to read the defense for you and call it for you in your helmet. Worst case scenario, you check the play and then don't screw it up. Check it to a run. Okay, good idea.
To that point, did you know that Christian McCaffrey on the 49ers has more touchdown passes that have traveled 30 yards in the air than Jimmy G?
Absolutely. One.
I think I saw that stat, and it's Nick Mullins is on there. He hit one, and Brian Hoyer, and then there's Jimmy G 0.
so again,
don't break it.
This is the best situation to fall into.
All right. So with those out the way, let's get into our picks. So Connor, first pick, which one you smashing, which is where you going to make your money this week.
I will say, this is. I'll be the first one to say I am pretty darn clear that every week is a smash play. This one, I don't know if I have a smash this week. I'm doing some weird stuff here. Large spreads. Just stay tuned here. If I had to pick a smash play, I would give Tyler Huntley the smash play this week. I cannot believe. Yeah, I said that. Yeah.
That's
Tyler
bold.
Huntley. Listen, this is not actually Tyler Huntley. This is a knock on Kenny Pickett. I don't think Kenny Pickett's very good. I think Tyler Huntley knows how to navigate that offense. This is pretty much a pick 'em +2. Are you picking Pittsburgh or are you picking Baltimore? And I'm picking John Harbaugh. Tomlin's great. Got it. Love it. I like him. I'm going to go ahead. Tyler Huntley, look at him when Tyler Huntley was in last year. He did really well when Lamar was there. Did Baltimore not make the playoffs last year? The majority of that was with Tyler Huntley. Honestly, I can't remember if they made the playoffs. They made a push, though.
I think they didn't make it.
They were borderline, but they were right there. All of that was Tyler Huntley. You can make the argument, okay, well, they didn't make the playoffs. Fine. They were given a really crappy situation, and Lamar Jackson was their entire offense. So I'm going to go ahead and say, yes, I believe that Tyler Huntley is better right now than Kenny Pickett. Baltimore still has a pretty good defense. Everyone forgets that. Okay, you've got, a trash can on one end named Marcus Peters, who is not good. He's just a big physical, sit in the zone, act like I make a play every once in a while, get burned deep most of the time. You do have Marlon Humphreys, who is one of PFF's highest graded corners. That's pretty good. And you just have a really strong core defense. And, I think Justin Houston's there now, but, I think they're more battle tested. I think Kenny Pickett's still figuring it out. Kenny Pickett and what was their last win? Pittsburgh over Colts. Ooh, that's not a great win. They looked okay last.
The Colts, who gave up 33 to the Cowboys in the fourth quarter.
In the fourth quarter.
They beat the Falcons last week too, who now are going to their backup quarterback. So that's another statement win.
I'm not in on Pittsburgh. I think this is, if it's a pick 'em, I'm picking Baltimore, and they're getting 2 points. Yeah, I'll go ahead and take John Harbaugh.
Yeah, I think this is a game very much similar to last week, but Pittsburgh's defense is worse than Denver's defense, and Pittsburgh's offense, I think, is actually worse than Denver's offense. Now I think they'll put up more stats, but if you're talking like a low-scoring, close game, I would trust Denver to win more, which is actually kind of embarrassing. But also, Roquan Smith is just been a lifesaver.
That's
for the
who it
Ravens
was. I knew they
defense.
got a big free agent signing, but I could not remember who it was. It was a linebacker. It's Roquan.
He has given them that toughness in the middle of the run game stopper that they were missing at the beginning of the year, and it's just been life-saving for their defense. So
yeah,
I like the Ravens a lot. If they had a legit wide receiver, I would like them even more. But right now, they're rolling up to Marcus Robinson.
They have Mark Andrews. They have Mark Andrews, though, and Pittsburgh is okay at best.
They need, when they have just Mark Andrews and Rashad Bateman, Bateman was looking like a burner, he can get that play over the top. They don't have anyone that can do that. So I'm talking, that's my take on
Wrong.
No.
They have Deshaun Jackson at 35 years old who opened it up 2 weeks ago and pulled his hamstring.
He sprinted one time in the past 2 years, and it popped his hammy immediately.
Officially on the the practice squad.
All right. Let's go. My smash play of the week. It's inner turmoil for me, but not really. So, Cleveland versus Cincinnati. I got the Bengals -5. Now, listen. The Browns have owned the Bengals for, the last 2 years. I think they're, 5-0 against them.
Yeah.
So, that was 4 with Baker, 1 with Jacoby Brissett. And let me tell you, Deshaun Watson is the worst quarterback starting for the Browns in that time. Well, Deshaun Watson 2 weeks back after his situation. So he looked so bad last week. He was so bad the Texans and the Browns, I don't think, scored a touchdown on offense until the end of the game or something stupid. The Browns had 3 defensive touchdowns to win that game. So the Browns don't look good. And Cincinnati, we trashed them, I think, last week, saying we weren't sure if they're a Super Bowl team because of their corners, which I kind of still stand by because you have to stop Stephon Diggs and then anyone on the Chiefs. But their defense has actually been playing ridiculously well. I thought Cincinnati was fortunate to win this Kansas City game, but again, that should have been a close game. And I think Kansas City or Cincinnati should blow out the Cleveland Browns as currently constructed. The Browns' weak points have been outside. Well, T. Higgins and Jamar Chase are going to wreck them. So they just got to hold up a little bit and slow down Myles Garrett. They didn't do it on Monday night weeks ago. I'm sure they'll have a better game plan this time. So I'm just buying in. Joey Burrows won me over with that 3rd and 11 perfect dime right in the chest of T. Higgins. By the way, they went to T. Higgins for a must-win play, not Jamar Chase, the big physical.
Look at the play, because he's a beast monster who's like, you got to think, he's not throwing it deep for a crazy route. This was, my guy's running a slant, and he's 6'3" and 225.
I'm just saying, well, the other 3rd and 10 or something, or it was like a 3rd and 2 maybe, where they threw it up and T. Higgins caught a touchdown, but there was a holding. Yeah. That would have been overturned if it wasn't for whatever the penalty was.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that play.
Yeah,
that was a
straight up.
And they called it incomplete. And if you
it would have been challenged.
It would have been challenged, and he would have won. So
Yep. Yeah, I love T. Higgins. I just love that the last 4 weeks have just certified that dude could be a number 1 on any team. So, All right. Bengals minus 5.5. What's your next pick?
By the way, just on that note, I would have probably taken 5.5 is just a lot. Just remember, Travis Kelce had an egregiously bad fumble late in that game. Otherwise, I don't think they win that game. So let's. The
thing is, I'm low on the Browns right now. The only reason they won last week is, they made Kyle Allen look like Kyle Allen, a guy who couldn't control the ball or protect it to save his life. So I am just the Browns. I know they're giving their pick away, and I want them to win their games so that the Texans get a worse pick. But it's not going to happen.
If this was like Deshaun Watson, yes, he looked like absolutely atrocious last week. But if this was, say, a true pocket quarterback, I would be more apt to say, okay, it's going to take him longer to shake the rust off. Something that doesn't go away is athleticism. Deshaun may pick it up in that sense way more than he did his rusty passing. So that could keep it close.
So to that point, his plays that actually looked okay, he hit a nice, I think it was like a rollout play action deep to Donovan Peoples-Jones. And that I'm like, yeah, that looks like what he did with Will Fuller and DeAndre Hopkins a ton in Houston. It was the catch the ball 5-yard slant that he was dirty.
RPO.
So that's why I'm scared, yeah.
So that's the only reason I'm not taking 5.5. This seems like a lot. If Deshaun figures it out, it may be closer than 5.5. Anyways, my next smash pick, if it's not a smash pick, but if I was going to choose one, by the way, when I say all of these are going to be smash picks, none of them are, because that's just how this week is feeling for me. Listen, I think the Jets at 10 is a steal. The Jets beat them 2 weeks ago, okay? 3 weeks ago. Okay, that was with Zach Wilson. Did I mention Zach Wilson is not even active anymore because he sucks so bad? And Solly can come out and say as many times as he wants, he's going to play again. Dude, you are stupid if you play him again.
He never specified what team he is playing for.
Just a total politicking move right there. 10 seems like a lot. Their defense is for real. Quinnen Williams, and we've talked about him. It's weird because we talk about Sauce and we talk about DJ Reed. Both of those guys, Sauce is a top 2 rated corner, and DJ Reed is a top 10 rated safety, I think. Top 10, DB overall. Mm-hmm. Quinnen Williams is going to be an all-pro this year as a defensive tackle. Now, they don't run the ball a lot. Bills don't run the ball a lot. Fine. But you've got, I mean, even if you look, I think it was like 27, maybe 17, 27-17 maybe last week. And that was going into the fourth or something like that. It was 27, maybe even 15. They were down by 12 at least. And they nearly, honestly, they should have won that game. They got stops on defense when they needed to. They scored 27-22. Now they were at the 1 yard line, and Braxton Berrios couldn't. Mike White hit him in the chest, and he fumbled it and incomplete in the end zone. So they should have beat the 10-2 fraudulent Minnesota Vikings. And by the way, they've already got a win, against the Bills. I'm not saying they win this game. 10 just seems like outrageous. Even if it is Josh Allen revenge game, fine. I'm still taking Mike White, man.
I'm riding with you on this one. Jets plus 10. I think underrated is Von Miller is gone. Yeah. And the Bills love to run a 4-man rush and then sit the 7 deep. You can't do that when Von Miller is not there. They have good pass rushers, but when you lose your guy that is the automatic double team, it really hurts the rest of them. Yeah. So you got to come out blitz, and you got to switch up your offense. You got to switch up your defense, and leave more holes. And Mike White has actually been really good at finding the right guy in rhythm. That's the whole reason why Zach Wilson's out.
I mean, he's going to sling it. He's going to sling it. So that's why I would say he has a better chance of covering 10 points. Because if you're going to be I would say an example would be if Tyler Huntley had to cover a 10-point spread on a running-oriented offense, I think that's no good. I think Mike White's going to run around and just say, whatever, don't care, chuck it. I mean, it's different. It's different. You got to take that into account.
Well, also, the Bills have been run-heavy. They haven't – I just checked it out. Pro Football Reference said they have had under 250 yards of passing offense since the bye week, except for one time.
That's a resurgence of James Cook more than anything.
But when you're talking a 10-point spread, I'd love to see that because that means you're not trying. You're not burning them with Gabe Davis on a 70-yard touchdown. It's all right. I'm going to milk the clock. Going to make the game a little bit closer. So the Bills have been much different than the Goliath we saw the first 5 weeks of the season when they looked utterly like, Mike Tyson just knocking people out. So I think 10 is just too much, especially for a Jets team that, Robert Saleh is going to want to make it gritty and muddy and beat the crap out of each other and, keep it low scoring. Try to hurt Josh Allen and not in like a negative, mean way, but I just mean like literally smack him every time he runs because that's his defensive-minded, football coach style. All right. I'll let you go again. Take another pick because I spoke on that because I had that pick too.
All right. This is 10 and 9 may be the highest spreads I've ever taken. But, I think an angry Patrick Mahomes is covering 9 versus one of the most abysmal offenses probably that I can remember that is supposed to be that is okay with the talent that they have. Let me caveat that this is the worst talented offense I think I've ever seen. And I've watched 2-3 full games now of Denver's offense, and it is just anemic. It's elementary. It's any word that you can think of, and they just lost. Cortland Sutton's likely not playing this week. Jerry Jeudy's hobbled. You have a leading receiver as your tight end who was a third-round pick who is athletic, but they're splitting him out, using him as a wide receiver. Kendall Hinton, a former quarterback who started a game last year, is your number 2 this week. I mean,
Latavius Murray's 1 billion years old. He runs like it.
I can't. And they made a pointless trade to get Chase Edmonds. I mean, this team is just atrocious. And I think an angry Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey is going to blow them out. Like, there's a chance I would take the over, but only because I think the Chiefs are going to score 35. I mean, it's crazy that. And fun fact, I think it's out of 13 games this year, I think the under has hit for any Denver Broncos game because they have not scored. They have the lowest scoring offense. It is the matchup of the highest scoring offense in the league on average points and the lowest scoring offense on average points. We literally have that happening in this game. So, yes, I'm going to have them. I'm going to take them -9, Kansas City.
The good news is you will have an opportunity to bet this game once more. I think they have another matchup like in the next couple weeks. So Kansas City getting some softball wins in that race for the 1 seed. All right. I know you mocked them, but I'm going with the Vikings +1.5 against the Lions. So I know I bet against the Lions last week and they made me eat it, but I think Travis Etienne fumbling and then them not scoring a touchdown in they were down 7-0 and then Zay Jones drop would have been a touchdown. A lot of bad mental stuff going on, and then Trevor Lawrence got hurt. So, yes, Detroit Lions have a very good offense. I don't think their defense is all that it's shown to be. And the Vikings they have talent on offense. I don't know why. Sometimes they just can't do anything. Like against the Jets, they were up, and then they just immediately stalled. I think it's bad play calling and getting way too conservative. But I don't know. I don't watch their games that intensely. Anyways, I believe in them. They are underdogs at 10-2 against the Lions. So I think they're going to win this game. It's a very low spread. That's why, that's what they do. It's a close game. They win. They're just that team this year that, is going to make it to the playoffs. The Titans last year, you're going to lose in the first round you play, but at least you're going to get there with a great record.
This is such a weird game for me. I'm just going to tell you that. It's just such a weird game. I know. I won't ruin your thunder. Tell them what you have on the total.
I would say I got the over 2. Don't worry. So I think Detroit's going to score, and I think Minnesota's going to score, and I think Minnesota hits like a walk-off field goal, just the way they've done every week.
This is such a weird game because, what are they? 5-1 in their last 6. Detroit, something like that, something crazy. They might have won 5 straight or something. I mean, we're talking crazy numbers here, and I'm telling you, I just don't know what to think about them. It's so hard to bet. We were all in on them. I think we won 2 straight bets with betting Detroit, and then I took them a third time, and they got blown out by New England, 35-0. And that was the last time I think I took. I took them last week, and that was a pick 'em. Like I don't know what to think here as the favorite against a 10-2 team. Yeah, they suck. Minnesota's by far the worst 10-2 team probably in the history of the NFL. But they keep everything one score. To your point, everything. I think they have a point spread differential of like something like on average is like less than 5 points a game.
It's I think they're at +7 and the Lions are like -2.
It's
like
just
there's another.
Weird.
It just they fall on the right side of the scoreboard every week.
It's just a weird situation, man. And so I'm gonna stay away from this. If I was going to pick, dude, I'm riding with Jared Goff. If I was gonna pick this game.
So the problem with that logic is Detroit's the favorite this week. They don't win when they're the favorite.
Yeah, that's true. They don't win when they're the favorite. That's a good point. I didn't think about that because they always are the underdog.
Dan Campbell can't hype up favorites. He's like, we're supposed to win.
We're the underdog. Well, no,
we're not.
You're not this week. So I don't know. Tough for me to pick this game. I do like.
So what is a game that you could pick?
Look
at that smooth transition.
I just told you. I would say the Jets and Kansas City, but I would still.
Well, what's the next one?
Your boy Geno. Geno is going to cover against Carolina. Come on, it's a home game in Seattle. Carolina still sucks. Oh yeah, they're starting. Oh yeah, Sam Darnold. I mean, this whole mirage that Sam Darnold had a good game. I don't even think he had a good game. He had an okay game.
He had one good pass to DJ Moore, and that was a beautiful pass.
One gorgeous, lovely looking pass. Fantastic. If you're an NFL quarterback and a good one, you make more than one a game.
It's a bold claim, Connor.
I just think their defense is really, really good in the back end. They have a very, very, very good. They picked Tariq Woolen, and he's been a shutdown corner for them. He leads the league in interceptions.
He's huge and a freak athlete too. Like that guy's 6'4" and runs like a 4'3" or something.
He's a former wide receiver, I think. They switched him over to DB.
They switched him because he couldn't catch. Like, how can you be that big and athletic but can't catch?
Well, he can catch interceptions, but
that's true.
I would say the only hesitation that I have, and if this goes incorrectly, I'm predicting Seattle to go up early, which would force Sam Darnold to have the ball. If Carolina goes up and is allowed to run, Deontay Foreman has been pretty darn good, and even against decent run defenses, he's been able to put up good numbers. That's the only scenario I see happening, and I don't believe it happens. So I believe Seattle goes up and goes up early. Better wide receivers, better quarterback play. I mean, I think I'm in on Geno this year.
I am surprised that, if you're talking, week 5, 6, 7, there's no way this game is a 3.5 spread for Seattle, because Carolina looked like the worst team in the NFL, and Seattle looked like, I wouldn't say, they look like a good team, not a great team.
Yeah.
And now it's just 3.5 for a team with like as big of home field advantage, and I think just has better players. Very interesting. I don't have it, but a game I do have is Sunday Night Football, and I am once again not quitting on Justin Herbert. I don't know why. I picked him the last 2 weeks, and it bit me in the butt each of the last 2 weeks, so that means I'm due. That's the logic.
The hot hand theory. Classic.
It's the inverse. It's the inverse.
Betting all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Eventually, he has to cover the spread. And I was looking at this game. I was actually thinking about leaning Miami. And then I realized I picked Miami last week, and they just completely collapsed against a real football team.
Come on. This is San Francisco.
Tua. So my thing actually is Tua looked so bad that I think we were watching, and it was close, and I was actually feeling pretty good that they could come back and win. And then he had a wide open rollout to Tyreek Hill, and he threw it 10 feet over his head for a pick, and it just lost the game for them.
So he was rapid, okay, but schematically, he had dudes. Mike McDaniel had dudes running wide open all game on the number one defense in the NFL. All right. So
and here's the thing. Nick Bosa wrecked that game.
Sure.
Khalil Mack is going to wreck this one. I don't think their tackles are back, and I think he'll be able to just cause problems and create pressure. And Brandon Staley apparently is not a defensive guru, and last year I defended him, and that guy he's getting to the point where he needs to lose his job. Him and Nathaniel Hackett, how can you have this roster that's so talented and not have them producing? You're a defensive-minded guy, and your defense is consistently the worst part of your team. Justin Herbert, I love watching him play. Just make something happen. I think on the back end, Miami's weak, so it's not going to be as big of a detriment when the Chargers receivers go against them. And Herbert just has to get the ball out quick so he doesn't get killed by their pass rush. But that's nothing new. That dude runs for pass rushes every week. So I think they actually have a bit of an advantage there since their wide receivers can't outplay Miami's DBs. So they're a home underdog at plus 3.5. I'm sticking with it.
By the way, separate note, you have convinced me to take the over in the Minnesota-Detroit game. So
can't wait to go down in flames together.
I said I won't take Detroit or Minnesota outright, but I think I am going to take the over on that. I think there's a lot of points that go in this game. Now, that was something separate, but you took Sunday Night Football. I'm going to take Monday Night Football. Man, Arizona is a home. Oh, my goodness. They are a home underdog here. And, again, this is probably less on Cliff Kingsbury because he should be fired this year. By the way, I think we've talked about this too. Kyler Murray's about as personable and as approachable as a cactus, but that was a joke because it's in Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah, it was a good one. I laughed.
Anyways, man, it's hard. He's still good. Arizona is still good. Matt Patricia and Mac Jones are not. I watched the full Bills game last week. No Von Miller and kind of a at home should be something where you can scheme up and you know who you're playing. This is a division game, and they put up 10 points and looked like, oh, by the way, that first 7 points happened in the first 2 minutes of the game on a screen pass to who was it? Oh, a converted DB, an undrafted converted DB. I mean, this is stupid bad.
It's almost like they don't have an offensive coordinator.
This is a total indictment against Matt Patricia and Mac Jones. This is not so much a vote of confidence for Kyler, for Cliff for that matter. The only way that I see this going wrong is somehow late in the game, like a couple weeks ago, Cliff lets the wheels fall off and lets him back in. That's it.
So, I think the Patriots are right in that wonderful AFC playoff bubble. Let me see. Let me just get all the teams in it. So we have...
The Patriots are still in the playoff hunt.
No, I was going to say, so there's the Patriots, the Jets, the Chargers, and technically the Raiders. I'm guessing the Jets actually do fall off and don't make the playoffs. Mostly because I want the Chargers to make it because I bet them every week and they need to start paying, you got to start paying the bills with them. Who do you think can sneak into that 7th spot then?
Man, okay.
Because for the record, the Browns are technically 5-7 and right on the cusp of that. But remember, they lost to all 4 of those teams.
One
so
spot
there's
for those
chance.
4?
Yes.
Ooh.
Jets,
Dude.
Patriots, Chargers, Raiders. Raiders, it's hard. They're 2 games back. Patriots, Chargers, Jets are all within.
Yeah, but the Raiders are going to win tonight, so we'll see what happens. Goof. Man, my gut wants to tell me I'm stupid, but Jets, man. I mean, it's crazy that I want to say that. Jets, Chargers would be 1-2, in my opinion, right there. Jets and Chargers.
Also, good news with the Jets, you get games against the Lions and Jags. So 2 wins, and you might be able to lock this thing up.
Yeah.
The Chargers, who do you end with? Dolphins, Titans. Oh, actually, I'm going with the Chargers. They end. All right, so Dolphins is a tough game this week, but then they get Titans, Colts, Rams, Broncos. If you can't win those last 3 games,
okay, but Titans though, Mike Vrabel. Remember, it's Mike Vrabel. He'll play keep away.
So if they win one of the next 2 games, they have to win out, and they should, and you end up as a 10-win team. Yeah. Boom. My Chargers are making it.
Haley's going to screw it up.
He definitely is. That's what they do. Last year, he screwed it up right against the Raiders.
Yeah. Yeah. Should have lost his job then.
Come on, he was a rookie coach. You got to give people give him a break. All right. That's it. I think that's all of our picks. Anything else to close out on? Baker Mayfield sucks. I don't know if he's playing tonight.
By the way, Baker entered in the 2nd series. Already. He's in. I mean, this is crazy to me. This is crazy. I can't believe somehow this is something that we could have talked about and we'll have to bring up next week.
Baker Mayfield's terrible at football. Everyone knows. You don't have to talk about it.
Baker Mayfield's terrible at football. What do the Rams do? Stafford is potentially done for his career. He has a pinched, like some sort of avulsion in his neck that's may be life-threatening or paralytic potential, paralyzing potential if he gets hit the wrong way, may be done for the career. They don't have a first-round pick for the next 3 years. So what exactly are you going to do? You're going to try and guess in the second half of the draft? Or what I would think you would do is you're going to have to work a deal with an Aaron Donald, or you're going to have to trade some guys, and I don't know. We'll have to talk about that.
I was going to say, they'll even into the offseason, they'll be good. But I like what they're doing right now with Baker Mayfield. They said there was a guy who at one point in the NFL looked like a legitimate starter. Bring him in and see if he can play football for us. This is when you just start going out. You grab Geno Smith is an example, but you're like, who in the world had any glimmer of hope? Because we can't get a first round quarterback, and we can't bank on getting a third round guy. It's like, all right, Jimmy G, that's a guy you can keep your eyes on. He doesn't fit Sean McVay's system, though. You got to be able to throw a deep ball, and that's not his strength. Like Russell Wilson, if the Broncos get fed up with him, like that could be, but you don't have anything to go get him with. So, yeah, I agree with you. It's an interesting take, but this is when you got to be like, we got to buy low. That's it. We have to constantly buy low and hope that a lottery ticket pays off at some point.
Hackett will get fired first. They'll end up with Wilson. Scorched earth. If I'm the Denver Broncos, scorched earth.
No, I am firing Hackett, and I'm giving Russell Wilson one more year. But that's just because, like, I have 3 first-rounders and $250 million in them, or 160. Like, at some point, I have to give him 2 years, because if I don't, like, I'm just shooting myself in the foot.
Oh,
so.
And you may or may not have remembered this. Like, they absorbed his contract and then replaced it with a new one.
No, they didn't replace it. It's added on, I thought.
You might be right. It was an extension. It was an extension. Yeah. They said, so you haven't played a game for us yet? We're going to extend you, though. Oh, my goodness. I mean, we're talking like potentially all-time worst trades.
I mean, that's up there with Gilbert Arenas.
That's up there with signing Matt Flynn and replacing him with Russell Wilson.
No, that's the Matt Flynn deal is better because you did not pay him enough that you felt obligated to him. Like Russell Wilson, you're willing to start him. At no point, if rookie Russell Wilson was there and this Russell Wilson was playing, you would not put in rookie Russell Wilson. You would keep the $200 million man out there.
I guess that's fair.
So I'm just thinking like Albert Hainsworth, who got a $100 million deal and failed his physical, but they still had to pay him. That's a atrocious contract.
Yeah, but that's not a sexy contract because it's Albert Hainsworth. We're talking big name people that just sucked. Julio in Tennessee was a bad one. That one,
like the only things I can think of that are comparable are NBA, and I can't even think of exact contracts right now. But like Chandler Parsons was a guy getting 5 years.
Was the one I was thinking of.
Consistently 5 years, $80 million. I remember when he went to the Grizzlies for a max contract. I sent my friend Zach a text. I was like, "Why are they paying a guy who played 10 games?"
Any of Dwight Howard's contracts after Orlando.
There's baseball ones too. Oh, Robinson Cano to the Mariners completely tanked their team for 5 years. So fun stuff. We should do that in the offseason. Worst financial decisions for for sports teams. Period.
I mean, then you could find best ones. Tyreek Hill.
No, best ones are always like Tom Brady. 6th round pick.
Yeah,
it's the BS ones.
We're talking about trades, dingus.
Oh, that's true. Okay, never mind. You win. All right. That's all. Thank you for listening. Like, comment, subscribe. Hopefully you win.